Hi, I'm Megan, and I'm going to be taking you on a tour of Ethiopia, which is in southern Africa. So today we're going to be flying clear across the country from Rexburg, Idaho to Ethiopia. So come along with me as I take you around the different cities and cultural aspects of the country. The first stop that we're going to make is in Mekelle, and it's a northern city, and it's one of the most pleasant places to visit in Ethiopia. The city of Mekelle is a great place to visit because the people are nice, the streets are wide and good for walking, and as a foreigner, one of the best things about visiting is the lack of hassle you get from the locals. There's no crowds following you, no begging for money, and people will very pleasantly leave you alone. One of the landmarks in Ethiopia that is significant is the Monument to the War, and it's an artistic tower spiraling more than 100 feet above the ground, and it's mounted by a large ball, and it's the centerpiece of a large war memorial. Another monument in Mekelle is the Johannes's Castle, and around the castle is the only place where there are military or guards, and there's a big entrance to the castle, which is always filled with military guards who make it very difficult to enter, and they love to boss you around. The next stop on our tour is Gondar in Ethiopia, and it's about 50 kilometers north of Lake Tana and 500 kilometers north of Addis Ababa, the capital of Ethiopia. It's also in the foothills of the Simeon Mountains, above about 2,000 meters above sea level. And Gondar was the capital of Ethiopia until the fall of the Tuadros. A main attraction in Gondar is the castles, and it's the city's main imperial precinct known as the Royal Enclosure, and it covers an area of 7 acres, and it contains 5 castles with raised walkways and connecting tunnels surrounded by high stone walls. Dire Dawa is the next place that we'll be stopping at today. It's a city in the Harar region in Ethiopia, and it's a commercial and industrial center located by the railroad. And manufacturers include processed meat, vegetable oil, textiles, and cement. Yeha is the next place that we're stopping at, and it's Ethiopia's historical route, and it begins with a glance of the remains of the earliest civilization in Ethiopia, and there is a dramatic church, and it's called the Temple of the Moon, which was built more than 2,500 years ago, that lies in Yeha, Ethiopia. Harar is also a city in Ethiopia that we're visiting today, and it's a walled city which stands on the eastern wall of the Great Rift Valley, and it's the capital of Ethiopia's largest region. And the city's location gives wonderful views of the surrounding country and the desert to the north, the Harar Mountains to the west, and the Ogaden Plains to the south. Harar is a religious city, and it was forbidden until 1887. One historical site in Harar is um, the House of Ras Makonnen, and also in Harar, the Amhar Mountains produce some of the best coffee in Ethiopia, in case you are wondering. Our last stop today is in Addis Ababa, and it is the capital of Ethiopia, which means new flower, and it's fairly recent. Menelik founded this city in 1887, and Addis Ababa is in the foothills of the Entoto Mountains, and it's about 2,400 meters above sea level and is the third highest capital in the world. And the city has a population of about 2 million. Addis Ababa is not only important to Ethiopia, but it's also important to the country of Africa. It's an important administrative center because the headquarters of the UN Economic Commission for Africa was established here in this city in Also in Addis Ababa is the African Hall, and it's an imposing symbol of African independence and optimism. It houses the headquarters of the UN Economic Commission for Africa, and the huge stained glass windows depict the suffering of the people of Africa. This is the Lion of Judah monument, and it stands in the square of in front of the train station, and it's a golden colored statue of the Lion of Judah, and it stands on black granite, which is decorated with portraits of the emperors of Menelik and Selassie, and the Lion of Judah statue has a very interesting history, and it was erected in 1930 and taken to Rome, where it was erected, and came back in 1930. Thanks for traveling with me around Ethiopia. I hope you learned a lot.